Free agency is here, and boy, has it been fun. Boy, has it been fun. If you look on the comments section, I am putting my draft video. I've made several thousand videos, over 1,000. That's shorts, live streams, everything. And this mock draft video that I did is one of the best videos I've ever made. Really is. Some things are going to change. So the next mock draft video is that I'm going to do is going to have trades in it. I'm going to have some trades in it. So yeah. Slasher, what's up, brother? He says, what's up, Dan? How you feeling, man? I've seen you live on Instagram too. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So what it is, Streamyard has the version that I have. It only has you for 3 things. And I was on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, but I've been deleted off Facebook. And yeah, so I'm now posting on Instagram. Now the comments from Instagram don't flow over to StreamYard, so I have both links up. Alex, man. Oh my God. I am kind of going to lead off with that. So I had, a matter of fact, watch my draft video, but more importantly, Alex, in the comments, somebody called me an idiot, and I didn't know the Texans because I had them taking Jared Verse at 23. It's 23, right? Is it 23 or 24? I think it's 23. 23. And so I basically went ahead and assumed that you're going to lose Greenyard. So I put Verse there, but with Danielle Hunter, that's going to maybe change because if Jared Verse is available at 23, I would not put it past because he's a guy that really shouldn't be there. He should go somewhere in the teens. So you may get good value, and just like the 49ers and a lot of other teams, they just want to stockpile with defensive linemen. So Verse could still be a pick, but somebody blasted me, said, I don't know the Texans because they need a defensive tackle. It's like Verse is rated. In my opinion, Verse is probably 5 to 10 spots better than the best defensive tackle in this draft. So if you're wondering behind me, if you notice, I got some glare. I have these large parts of a cardboard box that I put up and I put over the windows because I don't have blind. I have shitty blinds. And I don't have curtains. So I was putting them up, but I want to get rid of them. I'm just trying to clean the place up. I had a technician come today. I got somebody coming tomorrow. And then my place should be good. I've been cleaning. It's finally good. I can just kind of focus on making videos. The next video I'm going to make is going to have some trades. So, but Alex, man, what a great day for the Texans. Danielle Hunter's one of my all-time favorite players, a Houston native. Signed, I think, under market value if he can produce the same. And with Will Anderson on the other side, he should. To sit there and say that he's going to have 15 sacks is not stretching anything at all. Not stretching anything at all. Alex, yeah, basically you gave up a more unproven pass rusher for a definite top 5 pass rusher. He's a tad older. Yeah, he's only 29. Only 29, has a little bit of injury issues, but I mean, perfect for what you want. I think it's an upgrade over Greenard, who goes to Minnesota. Minnesota, of course, is trying to figure out how to give Justin Jefferson a gazillion dollars. So, by the way, Keys there's a chance. Keys is going to join me Friday. And I'm trying to get Keaton Talk Sports on here because he has a mock draft. I've only looked at parts of it. I haven't gone through and gone over all of it. But in his video, it's funny because I think we have like 6 or 7 picks that are exactly the same. And then we're like way apart. And Keys is going to come in and explain why my draft is so much better than his. But Keys is... He's got to check in, make sure he's not doing it. He's doing a lot of different stuff. but hopefully he'll be here Friday. Hopefully I can get Keaton Talk Sports come in here and go over his mock draft, even though mine's much better. Do check out my mock draft video. It's a fantastic video. It really is. Even if you don't like the picks, the audio, the transitions, the effects, it's a great video. It's one of the best videos ever made. True fact. Even if you don't like the picks, the video itself is fantastic. I'm looking at a linebacker, wide receiver at 23. Yeah, wide receiver makes a lot of sense, and I'm kind of leaning that way myself. But here's why I didn't go wide receiver in my first mock, and I didn't go into a ton of detail on the picks because I could have made it a 2-hour video. I could have literally gone for – actually, the Texans are a team I could have gone for like 10, 15 minutes on easy. You have John Mitchie, who I think is still improving, still getting better. That's a guy that I think that is really going to develop. Tank Dell's going to come back from injury. He was looking really, really good. Nico Johnson's just developing, right? You re-signed Schultz to a 3-year deal. Your offensive line's intact. You made a move at running back. I'm so sorry, man. You made a nice move at running back, one I really liked, and I'm just drawing a complete blank. Linebacker at 23 makes sense too, because especially now you said linebacker, you didn't say edge. Mixon, yeah, Mixon. And Mixon's a great fit. Great fit. It's an upgrade, even though I like what Singletary brings. Mixon's a great fit. Here's the drill though. If you said linebacker, so I'm going to assume you mean off ball, and I think off ball linebacker makes a lot of sense because there shouldn't be one off the board. And then Peyton Wilson, who I had going a lot higher than most people, just because Seattle doesn't really care. And I'll be honest with you, I think Peyton Wilson has a higher grade than Jack Campbell, who went 16th last year to Detroit. So I could see Seattle, who has their top 3 linebackers as free agents, I could see them taking the best inside linebacker out. That's Peyton Wilson. He would be perfect in that defense, and you could get him at 23, and it would make a lot of sense. You can also go best available wide receiver. And for the life of me, I keep getting the 2 mixed up. The one I really, 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 really like, and I keep getting them mixed up. And it drives me nuts here. I keep getting the 2 mixed up here. I want to say Adonde Mitchell's the one I really, really like for the Texans. One of them ran to 4.21, and the other one's the one I really like. Adonde Mitchell's the one I really like. And I'm drawing a blank on the other one who ran to 4.21. That guy I don't like as much. Adonde Mitchell I really, really like. But linebacker to me would make more sense. The person who had the shitty comment has a good point. Defensive tackle would also make a lot of sense. And the way that the mock drafts goes, defensive tackle would make a lot of sense. You have to tell me, though, how would you feel about offensive line? Because I'm looking at offensive line at 23. You have a chance to get a possible day 1 starter. How do you feel about right tackle and guard? We have a chance to be top 5 in sacks production this upcoming season. Yes, you do. Danielle Hunter is amazing, and Will Anderson is going to put on the NFL 20, and he doesn't need to put on 20 pounds, by the way. I just call it the NFL 20, but he doesn't need to put on 20 pounds. So here's the thing. He doesn't have to put on 20 pounds. But here's the thing. He's going to put on a little bit of size. The defense, even though by NFL standards, it's not I'm sorry here, but bear with me here. I'm having some technical. Okay, never mind. I am good to go. I thought I was having some technical difficulties, but I'm okay. All right. So here's the drill. You don't have Will Anderson's going to get better. And then you got Danielle Hunter on the other side. And that just oh man. And you could also add you're not done yet. By the way, Jared Verse, he's available at 23, could absolutely be a Houston Texan, despite of what the person said. Chiefs are restructured. Yeah, they do that every year. Yeah. Yeah, the Chiefs have freed up some room, believe it or not. It's not really a big move. They're trying to fix left tackle, because I don't think they want to go into the draft and have to take a left tackle. I'm looking at this zit on my lip right here. It looks massive here. I should have popped it before I started. I didn't know it was that much. I heard the Texans are looking at secondary running back and J.K. Dobbs' name going forward. J.K. Dobbins would be really nice in Houston. The reason why is that he's a phenomenal player, just can't stay healthy. And then you could use some help in the secondary. You need another corner. Perry! Man, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited about free agency. So many big signings here I want to go over. So many big signings. Also, don't forget Friday. There's a good chance I may have Keys coming in here. I'm trying to get Keaton Talk Sports to come in here, go over his mock draft, because his mock draft is a lot different than my mock draft. And, he told me, he goes, Dan, your mock draft's so much better than mine. I don't know if I want to come on and have you and Keys tell me how many things I got wrong and you got right, but I still may be able to get him to come in. Funk, what's up, brother? Funk says he just popped in real quick to say I hate my fan base. I understand. I understand, man. I seriously, as somebody who's been a Chiefs season ticket holder since '89, even though I live in Vegas now, for the time being, anyway. It's hard being a Chiefs fan. It's really hard being a Chiefs fan. It really is. The fan base gets worse and worse. Oh, man. The B in the Back Talk Brothers. The great one. The talent. Gooch! Yes! Gooch! I'm hoping to get Keys. Talk to Keys, tell him to come on Friday. Order him to come on Friday. I'm trying to get him to. Oh, man. If you want to be on draft night, I will be live, and you don't have to do all 6 hours. You can come on as much as you want. I had Bufa last year. We'll see what happens, but yeah. I haven't set it up, but yeah. Alex says, I'm not worried about the O-line myself. I think our issue wasn't talent or O-line. It was health. We went a whole season where our right tackle never played snap at right tackle. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. I've seen a lot of mock drafts where Houston wants to go offensive line. I don't think that would be an issue. Look, I look at the Houston Texans at 23. I'm not thinking offensive line personally. I thought with Greenyard, who I thought was definitely leaving. That's why when Jared Verse started to slide in my mock draft, I was like, how's he available at 23? Well, duh. And I still think that's a possibility. Receiver makes a lot of sense, even though you got some young talent there. Tackle makes sense. Corner makes sense, depending on who's available. I'm trying to think here. I think I had 3 off the board, but could you take a corner at 23? You could. But since you got it put in my head, if none of the off-ball linebackers are available, I really like Patrick Wilson out of North Carolina State. I've been watching more and more of him. I'm like, dude ran a 4.43. He's like 6'6", 240. He's built like a defensive end, runs like a receiver. I think he won the what's it called, the Nitsky Award. Goes to the best inside linebacker. Dude had like 6 sacks and 150 tackles. And the best part is he played for NC State, so he wasn't. He played at Power 5 conference. I'm gonna put that because the ACC is kind of weak, but he didn't play around a bunch of NFL players. It's not like he was going to I don't know like Alabama, where he's playing around like 9 first-round draft picks. No, it's just him. So it makes a lot of sense, especially at 23. Can't believe Brad Holmes still wants to overpay for injuries players. He keeps taking chances on these guys. You know, I'll be honest. The Carlton Davis trade, I think they gave up quite a bit. I think it's a 3rd and a 6th, and then a 6th next year. They brought back Mosley, a guy who he's a really good player. He just can't stay healthy. I don't know if you saw this. CJGJ signed with Philly. I like to move for Philly. I also like the fact Detroit didn't really try to sign him after picking Brian Branch. It makes sense. I remember Dobbins coming out of college was pretty high on everybody's boards coming out of college. The injuries. Yeah. Oh, God. I love Dobbins. Okay. So the Chiefs drafted CEH, Carlos Edwards-Helaire, at the bottom of round 1. And I really thought they wanted DeAndre Swift. He's another guy who I just absolutely love. I think he's signing with the Bears. Good move for Chicago. That was the guy I wanted. Jonathan Taylor was the other running back. And I saw somewhere he only caught like 8 catches. That wasn't necessarily true, but he wasn't really a receiver. Andy Reid's offense, you have to be a good receiver. So I was like, Jonathan Taylor's a great runner, just doesn't fit the Chiefs system. Cam Akers and J.K. Dobbins were guys I had rated above CEH. And Dobbins I really liked because Dobbins came into Ohio State. He was like 195, track dude. And they were like, hey, look, you need to be an every down dude. And he put on the NFL 20 while at Ohio State and didn't really lose any speed. It's just he can't stay healthy. But, oh, man. That's all right. I think I said it twice, so I'm glad, man. I love the love hit we got here. Our new jersey, really? That's kind of cool. I'm actually, if Alex, if I don't retweet it, can you send it to me? Because I actually didn't know you guys were getting new jerseys. New news to me. Send it to me. Who's your favorite signing in free agency and least favorite? Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one. I'm going to give you the most interesting one. And there's several I want to go over. Matter of fact, just a few minutes ago, I'm going over. I have the NFL Network pulled up. The Carolina Panthers traded Dante Jackson for Deontay Johnson, the wide receiver for the Steelers, and they're flipping some picks in exchange here as well. Solid move for, I think, both teams, kind of a win for both teams. But God, my favorite, I'm not going to say it's my favorite, but the biggest move in free agency, and this is the one I definitely want to go over, and I hope I get lots of comments. I hope lots of people talk about it. Kirk Cousins going to Atlanta. And the reason why I like that, because it changes not only the NFC, it changes all of the NFC, because Atlanta is now a Super Bowl team. They're a Super Bowl caliber team. They really are. And I know that sounds crazy. Somebody's going to say, Dan, didn't they win 7 games last year? I was like, yeah, I know. You have the 8th pick in the draft. You don't need a quarterback. You have 2 picks early in the 3rd round. You could draft, now that you got Cousins, you could draft 4 players. I think it's 4 in the top. Let me see here. It's 4 in the top 47. So you pick 74. Yeah, 74 and 79. I meant 79. I don't know where the hell I came with 47 at. So Atlanta picks 8th, 43rd, 74, and 79. You could potentially get 4 starters on defense, and your defense is already good. You got your quarterback, a litany of talent, and then you got the NFC South, which is kind of in limbo. Atlanta's the favorite to win the NFC South. I'm looking at San Francisco releasing Eric Armstead. What? Javon Kinlaw, former first round pick, he goes to Philly. Okay, so San Francisco's kind of, you can see them kind of going down a little bit. Detroit's making some low key moves that I kind of like. But I mean, are you sitting here telling me Detroit's now the number one favorite in the NFC? I don't know if I buy that. I like what Philly's doing, but you're losing two Hall of Famers on that team on both sides of the ball in Kelsey and Cox retiring. Dallas is a team you just don't know about. But I'm looking at Atlanta, and I'm like, man. So Kirk Cousins is I'm not calling it my favorite. As far as my least favorite, that's easy. Christian Wilkins to the Raiders. Nobody wants that. That just sucks. I mean, that just sucks. Nobody in the AFC West wanted to see a top 5 defensive tackle. You can call him number 3 if you want. Maybe 3's a little high, but top 5, Wilkins with Max Crosby. Are you fucking kidding me? As a Chiefs fan, if I was a Raiders fan, I would love it, and I do. I mean, as a football fan, but yeah. If you're a fan of any AFC West team except the Raiders, you hate the Wilkins signing because that just makes the Raiders, that changes everything on their defense, and then now you can just kind of focus on the offense. So, as being a diehard Chiefs fan, he says Chiefs win their 3rd Super Bowl in 5 seasons. Don't worry. He said, dude, when I say it's hard being a Chiefs fan, let me rephrase that. It's hard being a fan of my fan base. It's easy to be a Chiefs fan right now. It's hard to back behind this fan base. So yeah, I get, that was a good catch. Do you think Minshew could be the answer in Vegas, or do they draft a quarterback or other position? Minshew is what they're doing is, I really believe the Raiders want to trade up in this draft, and they really want to draft their quarterback, and that is the key. That is what the Raiders want to do. The Raiders really want to trade up, and the question is, can you get it? Can you get it? And Minshew's in case. Because if it doesn't work out, you got Minshew fighting with Aiden O'Connell. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Jimmy G. I know he's suspended for the first couple of weeks. He's probably going to be cut or traded or something. I don't think he's really in the mix legitimately. We'll have to wait and see. But you can't trade up because you're at 13. You don't have a ton of draft capital. But now that you signed Wilkins, you can that fixes a lot. That fixes everything on your defense, to be honest with you. It really does. I mean, do you have are your linebackers perfect, or are your defensive backs perfect? No, but if you're good with those two up front, and the rest you can kind of play with. But is he the answer long term? No. You brought him in on a 1 year deal. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if they try to trade up for a quarterback, and then what they'll do with Aiden O'Connell and Minshew is one of these guys is probably going to be the day 1 starter, unless they trade up to like 2, which I don't think will happen. I think they'll try to move up a few spots. I'm kind of eyeballing Tennessee and Atlanta, and they may be able to get the 3rd or 4th quarterback off the board. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'll go over that in my mock draft video, even though you got spoiler alert there. But no, the Raiders are definitely going to try and trade up. Can they do it? Because I think that they get the guy that could be a day 1 starter. They have to trade. They'll have to get. They're not going to get that 13. I saw Texans fans saying Nick Caserio should have been fired to being given massive contract to Barkley. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard of. And the reason why is Barkley, Okay, I like Barkley going to the Eagles. Okay, I'm gonna be very clear about that. I like that a lot. Has there ever been a time where you didn't worry about his health? I think after his rookie year, you're like, is he the guy? Is he not going to be the guy? I like Mixon quite a bit. I know he's from Texas originally. I don't think he's from Houston though. But Mixon's a guy I thought Mixon, there was a couple of years where I thought he could have been an MVP candidate. It's just that they're struggling offensively. And then they bring in Burrow and Chase and he got some wear and tear on him. And the offensive line was never really good. And but oh God, he's such a good player. Those Texans fans don't know what they're talking about. I actually really like what they did with Mixon. And here's the drill. It's not realistic to say Mixon can handle 300 to 350 touches. It's not realistic. Ideally it happens, but it's not realistic. But yeah. No, I don't think the Texans should have, but I like the Eagles doing it. Does that make sense? So no, it's just a third. We get Davis in the 6th round this year and the next. Oh, you get the 6th round. Okay, I thought you gave up a 3rd and a 6th. But I do like Carlton Davis. Here's a drill, though. I don't think you have a lockdown number 1 type corner, but you may not really need that. But I do like Davis, though. So the Falcons could be a scary team with a new head coach and actually competent quarterback. Oh, absolutely. I think that changes everything in the NFC. I think it does. I think you now have you now put Atlanta as one of those top 4 teams. I think they win the South. I don't think they'll be the number 4 seed. I think they're now one of the top 3 teams in the NFC. I think they're that good. And the reason why I say that is I'm looking at 8. You're going to get an elite player because there's going to be 3 or 4 quarterbacks gone. There's going to be 2 or 3 wide receivers gone. You're probably going to get, if not the best, the second best pass rusher. Maybe you want to go corner. I don't know, but you got a chance to do something really big. You know what? Maybe they go receiver. I don't think so personally, but they could. I'm looking at the 2nd round. They can get a good player in the 2nd round. This is by the way, you can get multiple pass rushers in this draft, which is kind of what they need. There's a lot of things to like about Atlanta, but that to me just changes everything. So, do you think Russ Wilson's a good fit for the Steelers? To be honest with you, I don't know. Everybody's kind of saying that, because he arrives, he's instantly going to be a starter. And I don't think Tomlin's going to do that. I think Tomlin's going to put all 3 of these guys in training camp and say, best one starts. I got 1st round pick in Kenny Pickett. I don't think they believe in him. Mason Rudolph, I never understood why. I'm thinking maybe he's just a dick or something. I don't know, because he looks like he should be the guy. I don't know. If Russell Wilson wins that job and they play football the Steeler way. By the way, they signed Patrick Queen. Great signing for the Steelers. Great signing. Makes an already good defense really good. So the Steelers want to run the ball. They want to play good defense. And then they want to have a quarterback that can throw deep. That's what Russell Wilson did with that's how he won a Super Bowl in Seattle. If you do that, then yeah. If you're Russell Wilson who wants to go back and throw the ball 50 times a game and try to be that, or try to be Russell Wilson who hasn't been sacked 500 times, then no, because the offensive line's still a work in progress. I'm kind of wondering what they're going to do because they still have some work to do. I picked them at 20 to take Jackson Powers Johnson, the center. I think he's going to play center. He could play guard in the NFL, but I think he's going to play center. I think that's plug and play, and you fix one issue. I think what they're going to do is have Broderick Jones starting on the right, Dan Moore on the left. I would flip. I would actually, tell you the truth, I would get another right tackle. That's neither here nor there, but so the weenie answer for you, Perry, is maybe. So I think he is too. Here's the deal. He doesn't have to be the bell cow guy. That's why I really like the move, is that he doesn't have to be the guy. The Giants had to revolve their offense completely around him. The Eagles don't. And then if you get into the playoffs, then you could say, hey, Saquon, can you have 30 touches? We need this game to advance in the playoffs. And then you can do that. Yeah. Cousins is okay. He be the same guy with the Falcons. He's not the answer for them. I think he is the answer. And here's why. Desmond Ridder, if I really hope that he handles this right, because if I'm Desmond Ridder, I come into training camp and Cousins may not be 100%. I come into training camp and I say, listen, I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I got a better arm. I remember he ran like a 4.51 at the 40. He's got all this talent. It just didn't pan out with Arthur Smith, and then he kind of switched Heineke in, said that he's going to put Ridder, played musical quarterbacks. I didn't like the offensive scheme, even though it seemed like it should have fit. If I'm Desmond Ridder, I just put my head down, work as hard as I can, and I try to show this coaching staff that I'm every bit as good as Cousins. And what's going to happen is I don't think Cousins is going to play all 17 games. Mean to say, I know, but if Ridder gets a chance, Ridder could turn in to be that guy. But Ridder being thrown into the starting mix, I kind of liked it, but you didn't have a good defense. The offense was. If Desmond Ridder handles this the right way, this could be gold, because what you could do is in 2 years from now, maybe Desmond Ridder can step up and be that guy. But I do think Cousins is the answer. I really do, because now you don't have to worry about drafting a quarterback at 8. Now you just fix the defense, because your offensive skill position talent's first rate. You have a good offensive line. You didn't have a quarterback. Okay, what's the other problem that you have? Oh, you need help at pass rush. Well, guess what? You got one at 8. There you go. The Falcons are now a dangerous team in the NFC, where before they weren't. So if he can stay healthy, the Eagles have one to bet. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I thought it. Here's the drill. He doesn't have to be the guy you build the offense around. The Giants didn't have any receivers. You got several with Philly. And you also had Jalen Hurts, and they haven't outlawed the tush push yet. So Barkley just has to be a cog in the wheel. He doesn't have to be the whole thing. And if he stays healthy, I'm looking at the Eagles now, and I'm like, man, God, I'm kind of liking what they do. Do you think the New York Giants got the best deal with the Jackson? Well, you mean Carolina. I got what you're saying. I'm looking at him in Thibodeau, and maybe I'm giving you another weenie answer. I'm giving you a maybe, and the reason why is you're giving him a lot of money. Thibodeau's got to pan out. You had Azeez Ojulari, which he's been productive. He hasn't been able to stay healthy, and he's a real young dude. I think he's only 23, and it'll be his third or fourth year in the league. I think third. I mean, you got plenty of talent. Here's the deal, though. I'm looking at Carolina. You lost Burns. You just traded Dante Jackson. Jeremy Chin signed with Washington. Great move by Washington, by the way. Frankie Louvu left. Oh, God, who did he sign with? I want to say Washington as well. I forgot. The Carolina Panthers lost their Yader Gross Davis, Yader Gross Moss, something like that. He also left. I think a lot of those guys went to Washington, believe it or not. You lost your 4 best players and another key player, a guy you got early in the second round, immediately. And the Carolina Panthers are already struggling. And they kept their defensive coaching staff, but they got rid of all their players. So I'm not. I'm not. When I look at, I'm not looking at the deal one for one. I'm looking at the Giants, saying, okay, look, we're going to add some pass rush. Okay, great. I'm looking at the Panthers as in they gave up a lot to get Bryce Young. They kept their defensive coaching staff and are getting rid of all their players. And I'm like, man, what's going on here in Carolina? Because I'm looking at Carolina and like, this is a team. What, they win 2 games last year? 1 game, 2 games, and at the start of free agency, they've gotten worse, and they don't have a pick in the first round. That's kind of my big take on it. Is I'm like, who's going to be the worst team in the NFL? It's going to be Carolina. How can they be any? I mean, here's the worst team in the league, and they got worse. They like their whole defense is left. Dude, they added on offense. They added somebody. I mean, yeah, Deontay Johnson, he's fine. Yeah, he's decent. He's not number 1. I mean, yeah, you get 33 and 39 in the draft. Are you getting the number 1? You need to. So that's kind of the way I look at it. With the Giants, I think Brian Daboll's on the hot seat. It's got to work. You got. By the way, if you still had Wink Martindale there, I'd love it. With him gone, I don't know, man. So another weenie answer. They just have to limit his carries down the stretch. If the Eagles end up having a good record, at least the offense won't. Oh yeah, exactly. Slasher, you nailed it. It's kind of funny because I'm looking at the Eagles. You just lost 2 Hall of Famers, right? They're better. They're better than they were last year, and that's scary. That's scary for the rest of the NFL. And you lose 2 Hall of Famers. It's a weird thing to say, but I'm looking at the Eagles. I'm like, oh God, man. Atlanta was a good head coach and decent quarterback away from competing. They got the head coach. They have a decent to good, and that's the thing, Alex. He's good. He's not elite. I think he's pretty good though. They have an abundance of talented weapons, strong D. I think it's a no-brainer that they're the favorite. Cousins, injuries, of course. So apparently Derrick Henry went to Baltimore, signed on a 2-year deal. I didn't know about Josh Sweat. I know Theo Reddick. And here's the deal. By the way, Slasher, I don't know how much you know about Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith's going to have double-digit sacks this year. Nolan Smith's a really, really, really good football player. You're not going to miss Theo Reddick. It's hard to believe I'm saying that. By the way, I'm kind of expecting an Arizona-Philly trade for Theo Reddick and maybe Josh Sweat as well. I think it's going to come pretty soon. I know Theo Reddick. I didn't know about Josh Sweat. Theo Reddick and Josh Sweat could both be en route to Arizona to reunite with Gannon. It's just a matter of time. Both 1 or 2 of those guys are going to go to Arizona. Remember, Arizona has in the first 103 picks, 104, I'm sorry, they have 7 draft picks, 3 in the third. They're not getting a first round. The Eagles aren't. They're not going to get that 27 pick for either one of those guys, but they could get what's the second round pick? What do they got in the second? I'm trying to see if I can find it. I can't see. I know they have a second round pick. I just can't see it here. I'm going to try to get Corey to Red Sea. I'm going to try to talk to him and see if I can get to 35. Oh wow, that 35 for Theo Reddick. I'm thinking, so you're the 66, 71, 90. I think it's one of those 3. So I wanted Wilkins, but the Raiders outbid us heavily. That's what's happening in running back as well. We were talking to Barkley, then Jones. Yeah, I know. And but I'll tell you what, Mixon I think is really, really, really good. I think Mixon is really, really, really good. So thank God since he didn't officially cut Mixon so we can send him a conditional 7 for him. And you're right, Barkley is okay. I thought he's from Texas. All right, sorry about that. I know he played at Oklahoma, so I assumed he was from Texas. Josh Prince, what's up, brother? Signed DJ Reader to Detroit tonight. DJ Reader would be really good in Detroit. Josh Sweat would be too. Josh, man, I don't recognize the name, man, but man, it's a cool name. I like Josh Prince, man. By the way, it looks like a Lions fan in the house. We don't have enough Lions fans here. Jackson Powers, the center from Oregon. I don't think he goes top 15 personally. I actually, be honest with you, I have a second round grade on him. But I have a second round grade on him, but I think Pittsburgh needs a center. I think he's the best one in the draft, so I think he'll go in the first round. But I think Pittsburgh trades down. Spoiler alert. I don't think Russ is a starter for Pittsburgh. I don't think they move on from Pickett that easily, especially after they were verbally in Pickett's corner when it came to them starting week one. That's the whole thing. Russell Wilson's not going to be guaranteed a starting spot. I think it's going to be a free-for-all quarterback. And it's an old saying in the NFL, if you have two quarterbacks, you really don't have one. Well, they got three. I mean, what the fuck do you do? Personally, I'll be honest with you. Okay, so let's make a case for all three. Okay, let's start with Pickett. First pick in the draft, talented, upside, seemed to be doing pretty well. Then he got hurt. The team looked better, a lot better, once they give Mason Rudolph a chance. I think Mason Rudolph's the best quarterback on that team. I have no idea why they don't like him, but I love this guy out of Oklahoma State. I loved him. He's big. He's got the best arm. He's the biggest. I don't know why they don't like him, but he's the guy they should go with. Got a future Hall of Famer in Russell Wilson. Can you do the same thing that you did? What was it now? 2013? Over 11 years ago? Great defense, great running game. Just throw deep. Who knows, man? You know what? I want to tell you. I want to tell you. I think Darnell Mooney signed. I'm trying to think. Did he sign with the Falcons? Darnell Mooney signed with somebody. I want to say it was Atlanta, and I really should have this. Yeah, Darnell Mooney. He signed a 3 year. Okay, so yeah. They could. I don't think so. I like Mooney. Here's the deal. You got London, you got Pitts, now you got Mooney, who's a fast dude. So I don't think so. They need a pass rush. They really needed a pass rusher the last couple of years. So Russ could probably steal a starting job if Pickett gets off to a terrible start. Outside of that, I'd probably assume Russ stays as backup number one. It's really a weird off season because I really think that purely speculating. I think Tomlin's going to go into this off season, and I think that what they're going to do is give all three a legitimate chance to be the starter. And I'll be honest with you, I have no idea who's the best fit. If you want to go old school where you're running ball, throw the ball deep, then go with Russell Wilson. You have the first round pick in Pickett. I just felt like he needed some time. Mason Rudolph's been there for, I think, 7 years, and they just hate him for whatever reason. I think he should be the starter, but I really like Mason Rudolph coming out of college. I think he's going to stay in Chicago personally, but if he moves, Atlanta was like kind of the perfect spot for him, to tell you the truth. I mean, who else is out there saying, "Hey, come here"? Is it the Raiders? I mean, if you really wanted Justin Fields, why would you sign Minshew? Justin Fields didn't fit in Denver. That's a good question. I think he's going to stay. I mean, I'm looking at the draft here. I really don't see a team that. I mean, are you really going to trade him to Minnesota? I think he stays. So Fields won't be traded till, during, or after the draft. I don't see any quarterback need. Yeah, I don't either. I think to be honest with you, I think he stays in Chicago. I just think that there's all this hype, and it's probably created by the Bears because they. But here's the deal. They want Washington's number one this year and for 2025 because if Fields doesn't pan out, they want 2 first-round draft picks so they can trade up for next year. So. Skip Bayless tweeted, "All in my ass." The comma saved his ass. Daniel Hunter is from the Houston area. Could be a bit mixed up since those were our 2 largest acquisitions. I just like Daniel Hunter on that defense. It just makes so much sense. And I still stand by if Jared Verse is available at 23, you could still pick him there. Why not? It's a 2-year deal, and you're getting under market value for one of the best pass rushers in the league. And he had some injury issues, but I mean, he's such a good player. All right, sorry about that. I'm going to get flagged here by YouTube thanks to Draft Tech. Do you think the Cowboys go wide receiver, offensive line? I really like offensive line because you have a hole at right tackle. Dallas likes drafting wide receivers in the first round. They like drafting offensive linemen in the first round. It's really a question of what can they do in free agency. And here's another thing about Dallas is that which one do you think would be more available at 56? I think there could be a very good wide receiver available at 56. I don't think the same caliber of offensive linemen will be available there. So I'm leaning towards offensive line personally, but Dallas is always a fun team, so I don't really know. Pickett is young, has talent, could be the future to develop. Rudolph is the best start now guy, but what you see is what you get. There's no higher ceiling that I see. Russ has the experience, and the vet is in the room, though, has definitely fallen up from what he was in Seattle. I agree completely, man. I think to tell you the truth, I think Mason Rudolph has a lot of upside. The problem is he's just never been given a chance. This is, by the way, about Justin Fields. I can see the Raiders, Denver, Minnesota going for him. That's only if they're super desperate. And I don't think he fits with Denver at all. The Raiders, because you signed Gardner Minshew, I don't get that at all. I would love to see him go into the division. I think it'd be a lot of fun. So, do you think Dable can? Do you think Dable get canned early? Gets canned early or in the off season? The Giants traditionally, I think, would let them stay the whole year. I would be really shocked if they moved on during midseason. I think it would have to be just like a colossal collapse, which could happen because I'm looking at the Eagles, I'm looking at the Giants, and I kind of like what Washington's doing early on. But I mean, if they fall like 0-6 or something, maybe. Let me take a look here. I don't have the schedules memorized. I haven't really been going that far ahead. No, yeah, the schedule isn't out yet. But when the schedule release comes out, so let's say the bye is week 12 and they're 3-9 going into the bye, and they just look like they're getting worse. Then yeah, if the bye is like 6 or 7, then no. So. I do think the Cowboys take a quarterback as the surprise move, JJ or Nix. McCarthy is, if they fall to him, I think it's highly unlikely McCarthy's going to fall that far. I'll be honest with you. I don't think round one, because Dallas is thinking that they're just like inches away from a Super Bowl. But I could see a situation in round two, especially because I think Bo Nix is going to be available. I don't think he's going to go in the first round. Spoiler alert. I just don't. There could be a situation where he falls in the 50s. Dallas picks at 56. So I'm looking at Philly at 50, Pittsburgh at 51. Okay, let's look at Cincinnati at 49. Okay, 56 to 49. What are you giving up? According to this draft chart, it'd be 170. So could you give up? Let's take a look at Dallas draft picks here. Could you give up a third round draft pick, maybe? So Dallas doesn't. So Dallas doesn't have a pick in the fourth. So, is there a player that the Bengals would want? Is there a player that I'm looking at that Dallas says, hey, we could use? Because I don't think you give up 56 and 87 to get up to a 410. I'm sorry, with 49, which is a value of 410. You probably wouldn't do Cincinnati wouldn't do a second and a fifth, more than likely. But just looking at the draft, is there a possibility Dallas could trade up in the late 40s, maybe early 50s, move up a few spots and take Nix? Sure. I think it's highly unlikely. Remember, they got Trey Lance. Remember, he was the third overall pick, and he was wasn't he acquired like late during the preseason? But if you're McCarthy and you just really love Nix, I would be shocked. Denver Gator! Denver Gator, I'm back on energy drinks. I just slammed coffee, but I'm back on energy drinks. I went like a month without an energy drink, but I'm back on them now. Had a long day, got a long day tomorrow, so I needed juice. Or I'm hooked. One of those two. All right. Can you guys? There it is. All right. Bear with me. All right. Can somebody give me a heads up here? Can somebody give me a thumbs up? Let me know if you can hear me. I apologize, technical difficulties. So, what do you think of JJ? Is he a solid starter? Could he be a star quarterback? What quarterback could he be like? I watched him play, and I didn't think he was an NFL quarterback. I'll be honest. I didn't see the arm strength. I thought he was going to weigh under 210. He was bigger than I thought. Who does he remind me of? Somebody said this, and it's a weenie answer, but it's kind of reminds me of a bigger version of Alex Smith. I don't think JJ McCarthy. Okay, so this is old school. You have the tractor and you have the trailer. The tractor, you can load the team on your back, carry you to victory. You have Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford. There's only a few of them. I don't think McCarthy's that. I really, really don't. I think he's a guy that can come in and start, but I think his ceiling is kind of like what Alex Smith when he went to the Pro Bowl with the Chiefs, is that he's a guy who's good. I don't think he's going to be great. That's just my opinion. Here's the drill. When Michigan really needed to win, when the game was on the line, what'd they do? They ran the ball. They had the best offensive line in college football, arguably, but they won, I think, the Remington Award. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I don't see greatness. I just don't. But that's what I am. So. Yeah, energy drink. Yeah, by the way, yeah, it's sugar in the raw, and I need to quit drinking this stuff. But yeah, I was about a month away from energy drinks. I bought some today. So, I missed Alex too, man. I was really looking forward to hearing Alex, with CJ Stroud, who I predicted correctly was quarterback number one. By the way, Alex, if you didn't get a chance to check out my mock draft, please check out my mock draft. It's a fantastic video. Check out the comment one of your Texans fans said about me not knowing anything, because I had the Texans in the mock draft taking Jared Verse, who free fell in the draft, but it was before free agency, so I had no idea they're going to get Danielle Hunter. But yeah, thanks guys for giving me a heads up here. So I was sadly preoccupied every time the show was on, so I couldn't jump in all sitting. Hey man, I'm glad you're here. I'm gonna stay on Tuesday and Friday, by the way, Alex. So yeah, I know. Reports are the Chargers, yeah, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to get anything. They're trying to get anything for these guys, and I think every NFL team's saying the same thing. Like, we're just gonna wait till they're free agents, and that's what they're going to do. So, is there a market for Bosa? Absolutely. This is a guy that can play. This is the truth. All right. He played outside linebacker last year, but when he was at his best, he was actually a 5 technique, but he's built to play pure defensive end. I don't know releasing him, the contract obligations, what he's looking for. And I don't know what Bosa wants either. Is there a market for Bosa? Yeah, but the problem is that when you look at a guy like Bosa, super talented, can he stay healthy? Khalil Mack, I think, is going to be 33 when the season starts. He had 6 sacks against the Raiders, but still double-digit sack dude who could play end, outside linebacker, really, really good player. So, Perry asked, does Kansas City trade Snead or keep him? I really want to keep him. I love Snead. I also, after signing Chris Jones, all that money, I don't see. I really think that you kind of have to trade him. And the Chiefs have a lot of secondary backs. They've been drafting a lot of corners lately, and they also had some guys that came out of nowhere that kind of panned out. And to be honest with you, at 32, you could probably draft a corner to replace him. He wouldn't be as good, but when you sign Chris Jones all that money, and you got Patrick Mahomes, and you got Travis Kelce, I would love it if they did. That's what I heard, and it makes sense. I'll take Bosa also in the 4th. LA needs to retain at least 45% of his contract. I'd like to see him in Houston. Both those would be way too high, actually, Alex. Both those would be way too high. And to be honest with you, the trade value is probably going to be like a 6th or a 5th. Remember Amari Cooper as a cap casualty? They like flip-flopped. I think it was 6th-round draft picks or something. That's kind of what you're getting. And LA is going to eat a lot more than just 45%. But Bosa, oh God, that would be a lot of fun. Both Bosa and Houston, it would be a lot of fun. And to be honest with you, you can get them for a lot less than both of those. So, but yeah, Bosa and Houston would be a lot of fun. And the best part about it is that he would be a great mentor for both Anderson, and I think he'd work well with Danielle Hunter. And the best part is that both Hunter and Bosa could easily jump inside on obvious passing situations. That would be a lot of fun. And the rest of the AFC South would hate you. So, do I think Bowers falls to a late first-round pick? I do. In my first mock draft, I had him going 19th to the Rams. And the Rams starting tight end Tyler Higbee. I remember some Rams fans said it was a dirty play. I honestly don't think an NFL player is out in a game trying to intentionally hurt somebody. It looked dirty. I don't think it was. But Higbee's probably not going to be able to play day one. And I look at the offense. You got 2 stud receivers. Your starting tight end's not available. Bowers is really the only tight end that could really go in round 1. So when the Rams pick at 19, unless the Rams trade down, which is possible, I would be floored. Now keep in mind, last year I said the same thing. I said Brian Branch, he's not getting past the Chargers. And then when the draft came up, the Chargers went Quentin Johnston instead of Bowers. That's one thing I'm gonna make fun of my boy Keaton. Keaton Talk Sports, because he's been saying every single mock draft he has the Chargers going wide receiver. They drafted a wide receiver in the first round last year, but they could do one this year. But I don't think the Chargers are going to take first round wide receiver because they drafted first round wide receiver last year. I would be floored, just like it was last year when the Chargers drafted a wide receiver, if Bowers is available and the Rams pass on him. I would be shocked. I think if Bowers is available at 19, I think the Rams have to pull the trigger. I think they have to. And because you put Bowers on the Rams, that might be the team to beat in the NFC West. And if you're a team to beat in the NFC West, you're probably a team to beat in the NFC. They gave the Lions a run for their money. They really did. And the Lions, for 2.5 quarters, were going to the Super Bowl. So you put Bowers on the Rams, that might be a Super Bowl. That might be a Super Bowl team, because I think the defense is going to be fine. Unless Aaron Donald gets hurt or he just really declines. And he's 33, 34? It's not unrealistic to say he'll decline. If Bowers is gone, see, I feel like a sneeze coming on. Excuse me. I think the Rams, actually, to be honest with you, I think the Rams will go pass rusher if Bowers is gone. And when I say pass rusher, it could be somebody to play on the defensive line. It could be an outside linebacker, somebody like Chop Robinson. I mentioned Jared Verse at 23. You could put Jared Verse to the Rams at 19. That would make a lot of sense. I think that they go I think if Bowers is available, who I think is going to fall out of the top 10, spoiler alert. If the Rams don't take Bowers, if he's available, which I would be floored. Of course, I was floored when Branch slid by the Chargers last year. I was actually thinking, we don't need him, but can we get Brian Branch? And he did pretty good with he did really good with Detroit last year. But that's the way I see him. Best teams in the AFC South are the Texans and Colts. I get Jacksonville was good, but so far they haven't improved. And I take CJ and AR over Attila. Oh, really? Well, okay, so CJ, yeah, but Anthony Richardson, you have no idea. That's all the Anthony Richardson, all you know is that. So somebody put on Twitter, Josh Allen's the greatest athlete to play quarterback of all time. I'm like, do you look at Anthony Richardson? He's heavier, faster, not quite the arm strength, but honestly, if you told me Anthony Richardson was the greatest athlete to ever play quarterback, I'd be like, probably. You had no idea. He played 5 games and he got knocked out of 3 of them. In his rookie season, he was only finished 2 games. That there's an old saying, can't make the club in the tub. So Anthony Richardson, no. CJ Stroud over Trevor Lawrence, sure. I think the Colts without Minshew, I mean, they're reaching. I mean, and by the way, how's Anthony Richardson handled this whole situation? Let me ask you this, Alex. I don't know how old you are. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but put yourself in Anthony Richardson's shoes. All right. You're 21 years old. You've been the big man on campus your whole life. You've been the best athlete everywhere you've gone. Now, all of a sudden you get the NFL and you got, what was that, $30 million contract? And then you got hurt and you weren't able to play. How are you going to respond? Because I know how I would respond at 21 and it's not good. How is he going to respond? I'm not saying he's like this at all, but Ryan Leaf is like, man, yeah, I at 21, I just wasn't able to handle it. I probably wouldn't either. Can he bounce back? Did he learn a lot? Did he watch a lot of film? Was he in the building? Is the team building around an offense for him? Who's the backup? Let me ask you this here. How many quarterbacks are there in the NFL that are 250 at run a 4.4? Who the hell is his backup? Because one thing about Baltimore is that Baltimore kept on drafting guys that had kind of similar skill sets to RG3. So, RG3. Actually, they did bring in RG3 to Lamar Jackson. Kansas City, with their backup quarterbacks, they have a different game plan. What do you do if you're the Colts? Because I think the Colts would have won the South if they went into the season saying Gardner Minshew is our starting quarterback. We're going to build a team around him. But now you're building a team around Anthony Richardson. How many games he played? How many full games did he play last year? He played 2. So, but if he lives up, I mean, seriously, there's no ceiling on how good Anthony Richardson can be, though. No ceiling. So it's a big question mark, because I could see the Colts being a 5-win team. I could see the Colts being a 12-win team. I could see the Colts being anywhere in between. Houston right now is the team to beat in the AFC South. And I really thought it was going to be Jacksonville, but I'm like, oh God. Daniel Hunter? That team got better. So a team or teams that may trade back into the first round. I'm looking immediately New England Patriots, and I think the Patriots will take a quarterback at 3. They could easily jump back into the first round and grab a receiver. Is Carolina picks 33 and 39? Is there a chance that they could go into the first round? Absolutely. New England, by the way, picks at 34, so they're definitely a team. Washington. Depending on if they give up pick number 36 or not, we'll have to see what, because I think Washington and Chicago are going to flip flop. There's a chance Chicago could if they get pick number 36. I think it's unlikely. But I'll give you a surprise dark horse. Just looking at the draft right now, Green Bay at 41. They don't traditionally like to trade up, but I could see Green Bay maybe getting a little antsy and trading into late in the first round. And I say that because they may trade up from 25 to try to get a left tackle, and then they may try to trade up to get a corner. That would be fun. Green Bay traditionally doesn't do that, but you never know. Rams over the Niners, at least in the regular season. I would say Rams will be the number one wild card team. The 49ers fall out of contention. Yeah, I get that, but here's what I'm looking at. Eric Armstead's gone. Javon Kinlaw's gone. Trent Williams, 35, 36? What are the odds CMC's going to stay healthy a whole season? What about Deebo Samuel? Is he going to stay healthy all season? George Kittle, is he going to stay healthy all season? Dre Greenlaw, I'm sorry. I mean, that just sucked. If you remember in the Super Bowl, he just jogging on the field, his ACL popped or his Achilles popped. Non-coincidentally, almost right after that, Travis Kelce, who had 1 yard in the first half, had 92 after that. That happened in the Super Bowl. You just don't get over that. I think seriously, you put Bowers on the Rams. I'm probably looking at the Rams as the better team. I'm not joking. I think Eric Armstead's a monster and so look at your interior for the Rams now. Or 49ers. Eric Armstead's gone. Javon Kinlaw's gone. You got Hargrove, but who else? Randy Gregory's gone. Chase Young's gone. The Bosa brothers in San Francisco would be fun. Don't be surprised if Harbs in LA takes the top trench guys. Yeah, exactly. I've been mocking Joe Alt to the Chargers at 5. Just boom. Just locking them in there. Just makes sense. Plug it, and here's why it makes sense. You plug and play him at right tackle. Rashawn Slater doesn't get back up to snuff. He's in year 4. You don't exercise the 5th-year option, and then you move Joe Alt over to the left side. You can move Jeremy Slater over to the right side if you really wanted to, because it's easier to plug and play a guard than as tackle. Slater, you have some position flexibility in. So, I mean, Alt going 5th to the Chargers. But spoiler alert, I could see the Chargers in my new mock draft. The video quality is not going to be quite as good. The video, by the way, I know you liked it, Denver Gator, but the next video, it's not going to be nearly as good because I'm going to do trades, so I'm not going to do like all the graphics and everything. So absolutely. I think not participating hurt a lot. There's a lot of rumors he played at 225. I heard that he was going to run under 4.5, didn't want to run. I guarantee you at his pro day, I think he's going to run like in the 4.6 range, or he's not going to run at all, and he's going to try to weigh in at 240. So yeah, I think Bowers. Remember, there was talk about Bowers going number 3 overall. I think that he's going to fall. So yeah, I do think his draft stock dipped. I really do. But if I'm Bowers, I don't really need to do anything. I just say, look at the tape. I'm the number 1 tight end in this draft. He's going top 20. And by the way, like, I mean, are you really like, let me ask you this here. Isn't it better to go 19 to the Rams than like, I don't know, 10 to the Jets? Well, maybe Jets are a bad example, but like maybe 8 to Tennessee. I'm sorry, 7 to Tennessee. Let me ask you this. If you're Brock Bowers, you get more money if you go 7 to Tennessee, but where would you rather go? 7 to Tennessee, 19 to LA. You play with Stafford. You're in a larger media market. I don't know where. I know he went to Georgia, so maybe he likes Tennessee better. But I don't know where he went to high school at. So, Perry asks, are the Saints still over the cap? I actually don't know. I know that they've done a fantastic job. I was floored, by the way, because I thought the Saints were just going to have to let everybody go. Universally, everybody restructured their contracts. Marcus Davenport, that was the guy's name. The Lions got Marcus Davenport. That was the guy I really liked because Davenport's a damn good player. He just can't stay healthy. Mosley can't stay healthy. He signed a lot of guys that are hurt. Yeah, you're right. That Davenport, that was the guy's name I was trying to think of. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Perry says, do you think the 49ers start going downhill now? Absolutely. Trent Williams, over 35. Eric Armstead losing Eric Armstead's huge. So I'm more convinced with AR's arm talent than with T. Law doesn't help. I have an inherent bias against. Well, here's the thing: just raw talent. I would say Anthony Richardson has more talent than anybody. Period. At the quarterback position. 250 runs a 4.4. I mean, who the fuck does that? I mean, he seriously he can play tight end, linebacker, receiver, name it. And I did a video before he came out to the draft. I did this breakdown about one of his throws, and he did his mechanics were all off, and he threw this laser beam like 40 yards down the field. So you can take a dude who's 250, runs a 4.4, and he's got top 10 arm talent. I like Trevor Lawrence a lot more than you do, but look, you only played in 5 games and you only finished 2. That's a huge red flag. So, do the Colts get weapons for AR-15, or do they go all O-line or defense? Those are all good questions. So they signed Kenny Moore, and I didn't touch base on this. And on my video, I brought up that they could probably still sign Kenny Moore because I like them to go corner. And the reason why I like them to go corner is the same thing that Alex talked about. You got CJ Stroud, you got Trevor Lawrence, you got Will Levis. You got Denver Gators guy, Will Levis. Denver Gator loves Will Levis, by the way. So if I'm the Colts, I think corner, you have to talk about corner. Okay, you absolutely positively have to talk about corner. But could you go D-line? Sure. Braden Smith had some injury issues. You could get a stud tackle at 15. Amarius Mims could easily be available. You could plug and play him on the right side. Mims, I think he only started like 8 games at Georgia. You could easily give him a red shirt year and then say, hey, listen, Bernard Raymond, he was a 3rd-round pick in 2022. He was a guy I really, really liked out of Central Michigan. I don't think he's ever going to be a superstar, but he's a really good player. So I mean, all these things are good things. Anthony Richardson, yeah. Nobody knows what to expect. That's the fun thing is that he could seriously. It would not surprise me. I'm going to be a dick here. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets hurt and misses the whole season. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. As far as him being smarter and more cautious, well, how are you like? I'm not insulting. I'm asking, legitimate, because I know how I was at 21. Maybe he just thinks it's bad luck. There's so many questions. That's the biggest one, because if Anthony Richardson is smarter and more cautious and the Colts build around him and he learns, there's no ceiling. And you also have Jonathan Taylor. He's back for the whole season. Maybe you draft offensive line and help Jonathan Taylor out. Michael Pittman, you got him to a 3-year deal. I forget the tight end they got out of Virginia, just an athletic freak. Jelani Marks, I think it is. When if he all of a sudden the light bulb goes off for him and he starts playing really well? They got some players on defense. Colts could be a fun team. I think he'll be fine from reports. He's been in the building prepping for a second season, just on pure talent that I saw from a few games. I like, oh, dude, yeah. The potential for Anthony Richardson is higher than anybody because he's as fast as a receiver. He's as big as a defensive end. Top 10 arm talent. He's got to stay healthy, and this has got to be on point. So, a report from ML Football: Dallas wanted to sign Derrick Henry, but he was too expensive for Dallas. That kind of makes sense. Actually, I'm not sure what. I don't think Dallas has signed anybody in free agency, have they? For me, it's Joe Alt, and then after Joe Alt, it kind of depends. If you want it, okay, so Tulis Fuega, butchering that name, I'm so sorry. He's probably your best day one starter, even though he was right tackle in college. All right? Probably your best day one starter. Ideally, you want him starting on the right side. Okay. Olu Fasanu, and I know that's not really his full name. Left tackle at Penn State, maybe the most upside. You have J.C. Latham and Mims. There are two guys that may have to play guard. Even though I like both their footwork, both of them are over 340. I think Mims is a guy I could see as you draft him, you wait a year, and he's a top 5 left tackle for the next 10 years. Same thing with Latham. Latham, I think, could be like a right tackle, maybe has to kick inside. But Latham's also a guy like, hey, look, it doesn't work at tackle, kick him inside the guard, and he's phenomenal. I mean, he's 340 and he's got good footwork, and he's so powerful. So yeah. Do I feel Shannon could be on the hot seat? You talking Shanahan? Hot seat, no. But I think he made a big mistake in firing Wilkes. Big mistake. I do too. Denver Gator says, I'm predicting Justin Simmons to Philly back with grumpy old Fangio. Yeah. Philly did sign CJGJ. I also think that they could sign Simmons. Get them both. It wouldn't surprise me because CJGJ can play corner and safety, and they need some help at corner. So I think yes. I don't think a Rams offense with Bowers is good enough to overcome the 49ers defense. As I've seen, the 49ers are very good at replenishing their No, you're right. They are, but Eric Armstead's impressive. And towards the last half of the season, the Rams offense was amazing. Their running back was almost as good as CMC. I'm drawing a blank on his name. I shouldn't, but drawing a complete blank on his name. He was as good as anybody. They got the best duo of receivers. Now you get a massive improvement at tight end. The defense was pretty good. Now, Aaron Donald could be, on the. I mean, he's going to be 33 or 34. So, One Pride, what's up, brother? Yeah, I the Carlton Davis trade I like. Davenport's a guy that. He just needs to stay healthy, but when he is healthy, he's really good. World of talent. I'm going to say something kind of fucked up here. Don't get mad. Pure physical athleticism. Davenport might be a better pure athlete than Hutchinson, but he doesn't have the motor and he can't stay near as healthy. If he stays healthy and the motor comes up, you got double digits, that guy. And he's powerful enough and strong enough they can stop the run. I also like Carlton Davis. I thought you gave up a 3rd and a 6th and a 6th next year but I'm finding out it was just a third. And then I'll have to look up that trade compensation just to make sure, because I thought it was you gave up 3 draft picks for him. I was like, really? But I do like Carlton Davis a lot. Here's the thing: you resigned Mosley, you got Carlton Davis. You don't have that number one guy, but you got your team's improved, and then you got Branch, who's an absolute stud. Campbell's going to get a lot better. If Davenport stays healthy, you got something really good. The thing is with Detroit is that I expected them to lose a lot of guys, but so far, like who's done better? San Francisco's lost a lot so far. Okay. Detroit's gotten better. So Detroit's really closed the gap. So, hey, One Pride, how do you like the free agent signing? And which one do you want to sign? The Davenport is mid to me. I think it's really good, but he's never been able to stay healthy. I'm not going to lie. I was really hoping Winston would go to the Broncos. If we're going to suck, at least do it in the Blazing. It's kind of funny. I think somebody put in the comment, maybe it was you, but I was really thinking Minshew would be a perfect fit for what Peyton wants to do offensively. Kind of interesting. He goes to the Raiders. Kind of interesting. A lot of guys are leaving Denver, so I think that Denver is going to go all in and try to get a rookie. The question is, who's your trading partner? And please, please, please let it be the Chargers. I want to see the Chargers and the Broncos do a trade, but I doubt it. Oh, God. Denver Gator says I'd rather be anal probed. Oh, God, I love Denver Gator. I think we need a veteran defensive tackle and offensive guard. You signed one of your guards. I think you need another one. I could see that. What was it? Jerzon Newton, defensive tackle out of Illinois. One Pride 40. You haven't watched my video yet. Watch my draft video, but spoiler alert, that's why I have the Lions taken. It would be a best defensive player available. So, you've heard the phrase BPA. It would be BDPA. So, here's the deal. If he stays healthy and you can get that motor up just a tick, it could be a really good player. Just can't stay healthy. They don't need much, but I was really surprised at I'm really surprised at how much they kept in-house. They lost CJ GJ, not really a big loss because he was injured most of the season, but I really thought more players would leave, and Detroit's done a fantastic job keeping everybody intact. Like I said, trench warfare for the draft. It's hard to believe you're agreeing with me. So Dallas hasn't signed a non-roster free agent yet this offseason. They joined the Seahawks and the Bucks. All 3 teams have re-signed players that are due to become free agents. Yeah, I was going to say, I haven't seen Dallas sign anybody. I know Levante David re-signed. I'm not sure what the situation is. I think Devin White, they're looking to move on from Devin White, who I just, a couple of years ago, I thought that was I thought he was en route for Canton, and him and Todd Bowles apparently is freelancing. So I'm kind of wondering who's going to sign him and where. But yeah, I think so too. One Pride says Denver, we're drafting heavy D-line. That's what I see. And Kingsley is really good. He is. And Mick I forgot about him. And he's kind of funny too, because what happened to us, him and L'Jarius Sneed were both players at Louisiana Tech, and they wanted to put Robinson in at corner, so they asked L'Jarius Sneed to play safety. And I was like, if you take a guy at Louisiana Tech and tell him to move from corner to safety, he's not going to be that good of a corner. But he's been that good of a corner, so kind of funny. But yeah, I forgot about him too. Some really good moves by the Lions. Really good moves by the Lions. Ravens 76, be more. Salute. It's been a while. Man, I'm glad to see you, brother. How do you feel about King Henry as a Raven? I love it, by the way. I love it. And Chiefs Kingdom still wants to thank you guys for not running the ball in the playoffs. Now that you have King Henry, no excuse. Actually, there's no excuse last year, but I'm sorry. I was a dick. That was a dick thing to say, Raven 76. You joined me. Now I'm being a dick. So. Oh, my God. It's Big Chief Sean. What's the most important things the Chiefs draft in the first 3 rounds? Who and why? Man, Big Chief Sean, man. Oh, my God. I love seeing Big Chief Sean. Love seeing Big Chief Sean. Okay. I've been mocking Darius Robinson, the Missouri defensive end to Kansas City. And the reason why is because he's about 6'5", 290, 285. He played defensive end, but he's more of a 5 tech. And he's a guy that would play inside on obvious passing situations, outside on obvious running situations. Yeah, this is the guy that I mocked to Detroit. And I do think he falls. I'm going all over the place, Big Chief Sean. Sorry about that. I'm back on energy drinks, so I'm a little bouncing around. Okay. If L'Jarius Sneed is gone, you got to address corner. You don't have to, because you still got McDuffie. Joshua Williams is a guy didn't play a lot except towards the end of the season. He played well. I think he's got a lot of upside. You still got Jalen Watson. There's another guy that was hurt that Keys was super high on. Man, I'm glad Ravens be more, man. I was being a dick, but man, thank you, man. Because seriously, Zay Flowers doesn't fumble, and you run the ball. You go to the Super Bowl, and you probably beat San Francisco. So. I feel good, bad coaching. I hate Coach Harbaugh. Yeah, he did. He did. And Chiefs fans even agree with that. So a lot of it depends on Sneed. All right, but I think you go corner. But I've been saying this. I think in the first round, I really want to address defensive line. I think Hannah's going to leave. Hannah or Dan, I always get the names confused. Had a lot of sacks last year. Minihue is coming off an injury. Remember, he got injured against the Bills, or I'm sorry, against the Ravens. So, even though they've drafted defensive line in the first round the last 2 years, I really want to go D-line again. And I like Robinson because he can play inside, outside. And I think he's a guy for what the Chiefs have never called themselves an amoeba defense, but the Chiefs have really switched to more of a 3-4 style. That's kind of a hybrid 3-4-4-3, and Robinson fits that. Round number 2, I really think receiver, and every mock draft has had Kansas City taking a receiver in round 1, and I don't see that at all because here's the drill: this receiver class is so deep. You can get the same caliber receiver at 32 that you can at 64. There was a mock draft that I saw early where Rashee Rice went in the first round to Kansas City, and where did we get him last year at 54? Is going. Let's say you redid last year's draft. Rashee Rice is what, a top 20 pick, top 15 pick, and the Chiefs got him in the 50s. Where was Brian Branch? Was it in the 40s? I don't remember, but wide receiver in round 2. I still think defensive line. And then here's the thing: in round 3, Kansas City can go best player available. I also like offensive line because I saw your comment here, Troy Fadawanu. I don't think he falls anywhere close to 32. However, Kansas City could be a candidate to trade up in this draft. I mentioned Pittsburgh at 20. And by the way, if could Kansas City trade up to 20 to draft Troy Fadawanu? Absolutely. For those of you who don't know, here's the deal about, for those of you who don't know, Troy Fadawanu played left tackle at Washington. I think he's better suited inside, but could he be a starting left tackle day one for an NFL team, including Kansas City? Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think he's going to fall to 32. So I think if the Chiefs want him, they're going to have to trade up. And I'm looking, I'd be hard pressed if Cincinnati passed on him because I think the Bengals would like to take him. But I'm looking at probably the Rams at 19, Pittsburgh at 20, Miami maybe at 21 would be candidates to trade down. Because you're the back-to-back Super Bowl winning team, you're going to have to give up a lot. And I'd love to see the Chiefs do it. But I think maybe 21, and I say 21 because in my mock draft, which by the way, it's in the description below, check it out, my mock draft, Fadawanu I have going to Philly at 22, which makes a lot of sense because I think for Philly, he would be a day one starter at guard. And then Lane Johnson is going to be, I think, 34, 35 this year. And then their left tackle, I'm drawing a blank on his name. He's a free agent after 2025. And that's what the Eagles have been doing consistently, is not drafting first-round players for this year, drafting first-round players for next year. So Fadawanu, I would be shocked if he got past Philly because I think he can play inside and outside. And I think his best spot might actually be guard. And I kind of see Philly really eyeballing him. So in my first mock draft, I have Philly taking him at 22. But check out the video anyway because it's a fantastic video. So I think you got the team that you really got to leapfrog would be Philly. So you got to move up 11 spots in the first round to get him. But I would love him because in Kansas City, he would probably be day one starter at left tackle. I would be shocked if Kansas City says, you know what, we're going to have a rookie playing left tackle. I would be shocked if they did that. But Fadawanu would be a great fit. I'm so happy to see you, Big Chief Sean. By the way, Big Chief Sean, you have my number. Give me a shout. Give me a shout and start making more videos. Do I think he falls? The first mock draft, I had him falling. But when I look at the later picks in this draft, because I think Cincinnati at 18 is a possibility, Jacksonville at 17, Seattle at 16. So I'm looking at maybe Indy at 15. All right, so I'm looking at 15 to 18. All right, maybe the Rams at 19. Houston at 23 is a possibility. But I think he's one of those guys that could fall. The answer is yes. And the reason why is that you're going to have 4 or 5 quarterbacks. You're going to have 4 or 5 wide receivers. You're going to have 4 or 5 tackles. And defensive tackle, I think could slide in this draft. Same with off-ball linebacker. So. From what I've heard in Texan circles, Houston's in contact with Chase Young and Eric Armstead. Word is Young's looking for a 1-year prove-it deal and has been connected to Houston, Tennessee, Carolina, and Atlanta. I saw something where he was going to Tennessee the visit, not the sign. And I think Tennessee should talk to him. There was a clip of him walking against Detroit during a play, and it's like, really? You're playing in the NFC Championship game and you're just not giving full effort? That bugged me. Eric Armstead in Houston would suck. Nobody wants to see that, Alex. When I say suck, that changes them completely. You put Danielle Hunter and Eric Armstead, on that Texans team. Oh my God. That's scary. And it makes sense. And Armstead may just say, hey, look, man, I want that ring. I want that ring. And God, that would be scary, man. I don't know why I didn't picture that together, but God, that makes sense. Perry says Snead was the guy they should be keeping in draft defensive tackle in the draft. I was kind of thinking that too, because you can go Robinson at 32, Fisk maybe at 32. There's another defensive tackle I'm drawing a blank on. I don't know if the Chiefs want to draft Sweat. I think that's his name, Sweat, the massive tackle out of Texas, dude's like 350, but yeah. Really good moves. Yeah, Derrick Henry, I think, is a good move. Yeah. So actually, what the Chiefs did is, Matt Ariza, if you're not familiar with this story, he was the Bills' second or third round pick. He was the first punter chosen in the draft. After he was drafted, a month after, his girl or some girl from San Diego State accused him of rape, and the Bills cut him immediately. And it was released that she lied about the whole thing. So the Chiefs signed him to a league minimum deal. And I at first thought, well, give him a chance, but it's a cap issue. So Tommy Townsend's a phenomenal punter. Congratulations, you're getting a great player. But the Chiefs had to free up some cap space. So they were giving Townsend a lot of money, and Matt Ariza is playing for a league minimum because of false rape accusations. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody. But yeah, he's a great punter. You're going to be happy with him. Yeah. And I was floored. Peter Van Larhoven. What a great name, man. So glad you're here, brother. The Charger is 20 or 21. And I think it was 21. Should not have gone past the Chargers at 21. So, yeah. What wide receiver could be had in the second round for Kansas City? I'll be honest with you, Ladd McConkey. I've seen him mocked Kansas City in round one. Troy Franklin, who had a disappointing combine. He's another guy, world of potential. Would be perfect for somebody in Kansas City's situation late in the second round. Remember, DK Metcalf was going to go top 10, and he slid all the way to 63. Xavier Worthy ran a 4.21. Everybody thinks because of the 4.21 he's going to go in the first round. I don't think so. He's 165. I outweigh Xavier Worthy. I think that's his name. So, yeah, he's a guy in Kansas City could get him at 64 and say, you know what? By the way, people are comparing him to Tyreek Hill, completely different type of player. Tyreek Hill played running back and then switched to receiver, but he look at Tyreek Hill. Look at Tyreek. Tyreek Hill's a jacked up dude. Xavier Worthy can be jammed, but could Kansas City get him at 64? Sure. God, there's a lot of receivers that Kansas City could get in the second round, because a lot of guys that would normally go in the top 50 are going to slide to 64 just because there's so many wide receivers available. There's going to be a very good wide receiver Kansas City can get at 64. And I'm thinking, I literally just said his name, Troy Franklin. Disappointing combine, weighed under 180, ran like, I think 4.49, and some people are thinking like 4.3s. But he's 6'2", and watch the tape, and then look at the 40 time. And this, by the way, looked like a fast track. And it's kind of funny. Some years are fast, some years are slow. But go watch the tape of Troy Franklin and say, is that what was it, 4.49 or something? I don't know his 40 time. I don't have it pulled up. Troy Franklin at 64 would be great for Kansas City because he would be a guy. He's a different type of player than Rashid Rice. He's not the run after the catch guy. He's a vertical guy, but he's also got some length to him. He would be a guy kind of like the way they used MVS last year. So I've seen a lot of mock drafts of Ladd McConkey, the receiver out of Georgia. What's his name? Oh God, Funk mentioned him. Funk loved the dude. Xavier Leggett out of South Carolina ran a 4.47 and a 4.39. He's like 220. I would love a dude like that. I would love Kinsey traded up in middle of the second round for a guy like that. There's a lot of receivers. Yeah, I think that he could be available. And so here's the deal. You have him and shit. The guy from Texas, and I can't believe I'm just drawing a blank on his name. I'm gonna look it up because I got Byron Murphy. Okay, so those two are probably the two top defensive tackles. I have Arizona taken had. Excuse me. So I had Byron Murphy going to Arizona at 27, and Murphy or Newton. There's no, whichever one. And the reason why is at 27, who's your best available front seven defensive player? And I said Murphy, but you could say Newton. All right. And then I did flip flop. Who's the best remaining? So I had Newton. So, but you could put Murphy, you can put Newton. But Newton, there's possibility. Thanks at one pride. But what scares is Coach Harbaugh's situation. Kind of want Reader as a plugger and still get Newton. That would not be bad. And you can get a guard in the second. And you're right. Lions are making some really, really good moves. Making really good moves. So much love, Raven. So are you guys. Yeah. Newton is, yeah. Dan, where do you see T. Higgins being traded to? I don't know. He is going to be traded. I really think Cincinnati's going to try to work out a deal to keep him. But if they can't, I'm really looking at Carolina because I think Carolina's just losing guys left and right, and so Carolina would be team number one. I think everybody in the NFL would hate it after all those names being mentioned if he went to. If he went to the Texans, but I don't know if you really want to send him to the Texans. But I think Cincinnati's going to do what they can to hang on to him. I really believe that, even though there's been a ton of trade talk. So, I kind of thought Houston would be a good spot because the other receivers that they got are more slot guys and then have two big, tall outside guys who make a lot of sense. So, but Carolina and Houston are kind of the two teams. But I really think Cincinnati is going to try really hard to get them. So, well, Dan, yeah. I'm right every once in a while. By the way, one pride's referring to, I kept saying Penei Sewell was going to the Lions, and I got that one right. So, yeah. If the Texans get Chase Young, run NASCAR package all day long. Yeah, and by the way, they're going to do that anyway. I mean, with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. What a great job, Danielle Hunter. What a great signing that was. Really great signing. Yeah, so the way the mock draft went, my defensive tackles just dropped. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if both those guys are gone. But I'm looking at this draft, and I just see those guys just dropping, and it kind of sucks. Because here's the deal: like you remember Kalijah Cansey? I had Cansey rated a little higher, and he dropped. What was it? Tampa Bay, you got him at 19. Is that right? 19, 21, something like that. So yeah, these guys are dropped. Keon Coleman, that would definitely be a guy Kansas City could get. Keon Coleman, Florida State's got a couple of receivers. They got Keon Coleman. He had a terrible 40 time, but he would be a guy that I completely forgot about Keon Coleman. Who's the other guy who's built like a tight end that Florida State has? He's a good one. Frazier is a guy I love too. I'm drawing a blank on who Frazier is. The name sounds familiar. I'm just drawing a complete blank on him. Do you think Armstead's a good fit in Detroit? Actually, I do, because so when him and DeForest Buckner were drafted, Chip Kelly had a brilliant idea, because both those guys played for him at Oregon. They were going to have which is, by the way, what all NFL teams are kind of doing, is that they're going to have a hybrid 3-4-4-3, where the guys that were going to be outside ends in a 3-4 could just be, defensive tackles. And a guy like Armstead, now you got to use them the right way. If you just have him be a 5 technique, then I think you're misusing him. But if you line up and you use him all over that defensive line, he could be a great fit in Detroit. Basically, he would take over like a 5 spot, but I would use him as defensive end. I would use him as the defensive tackle. I would put Armstead as a 5 technique, almost 5, maybe even put him as defensive end. And then I would have Hutchinson on the outside as an outside linebacker and say, good fucking luck. Go ahead. You got to use them the right way. And if you do, you got a lot of fun. Braden Fist, are you talking about, is it, oh, never mind. The defense, he's talking about the defensive tackle out of Florida State. I didn't have him in my first round, and I felt like a dick, because at the 4.79, he's a high energy, high effort guy, and he weighed in at over 290 after the 4.79. He has to be in the first round. And then I did my first round mock, and I didn't have him in there. I was thinking about putting him in, but I like Darius Robinson position flexibility, because he's got that length that I think Kansas City would absolutely love. Fisk is another guy who would be perfect in Detroit. High energy, high motor dude. And then over 290, runs 4.79. Fuck yeah, put him in. I'm so happy to see. I got Big Chief Sean and Alex here, man. I fucking love these dudes, man. If Houston gets one or both of Armstead and Young, Houston's defense will be in the top 3 of the league if we can stay healthy. You need a corner. But yeah. I mean, things are looking really up for the Houston Texans, man. Kingsley, yeah. Oh God, I forgot he is related to Soul. And by the way, I forgot, because Kingsley has that BYU connection. Andy Reid went to BYU. Andy Reid loves BYU players. Kingsley's a guy that could be a first round pick for Kansas City, even though I got second round grade on him. But yeah. Oh, you're talking about Newton. Okay. Thank you at Big Chief Sean. If we treat him well, but if he comes at the expense of our version of Big Bird. Dude, thanks, Denver Gator, man. Yeah. But it is so worth it. I'm so glad to see you here, Big Chief Sean, man. Will you please put out some more contact? So, absolutely. The thing is with Troy Franklin is it's not just a 40 time that he weighed in under 180. He didn't play with a lot of physicality at Oregon, and the way the offense was, that was kind of a question. And so he came in under 180 because he's 6'2", and he looks like he's about 180, 185. So that was a big red flag. And then he was a lot slower. And that was kind of a big red flag. But a guy like Franklin might be great for Kansas City in the second round. Remember Jalen Hyatt last year? I thought he could have gone to Kansas City at bottom of the first round, goes to New York in the third. So, Troy Franklin, maybe he goes. Let me take a look at here. He might be a guy we're talking in the first round. Maybe he goes to Washington at 67 or Carolina at 65. Maybe he ends up in New England at 68, and you put him with Drake May, and they have great connection. Lions fans would throw a fit if you send them on Rod. What's the market for hinges? Oh, T. Higgins. I'm in here in second, and Carolina, who just got Deontay Johnson, they could give up pick number 39, and that makes a lot of sense. Higgins to Chicago, or I think Washington, but I think Washington's going to give up either 36. Let's just say they have 36 and 40. That would work. Chicago doesn't have a second round pick. So might be a player. Johnny Wilson, that's the dude. He played receiver, probably an NFL tight end. Track reviewer, what's up, brother? I'm glad you like my mock draft video. Arizona can have, yeah. I it's who do you like better? But I'll be honest, Murphy would be a lot of fun in Detroit. Denver Gator. I watched the defensive tackle from Florida State take out my Gators. Yeah, after he ran a 4.79, I'm like, no way this guy gets out of the first round. Then I'm a great dick, and I don't mock him in the first round, and he should. He would be a great fit for a team like Kansas City, a team like Detroit. Be a great fit, and actually be a great fit in Buffalo, which I know they re-signed Daquan Jones. They just re-signed Daquan Jones, but Buffalo would be a good fit. Be a great fit in Houston, even though somebody wrote in the comments that I didn't know anything about football. So. Defensive tackle, Sweat, wide receivers, Rice and Johnny Wilson, running back, Estamine are all guys I want the Bills to draft. Estamine, he's the guy from Notre Dame, ran a 4.72, and he's a guy that's probably going to slide because of that 40 time, but he had a really good broad jump, and I think he had a really good vertical, and he's 221. So throw the 4.7 out the window. He would be a great fit for Buffalo. And he's great contrast. Didn't the Bills also re-sign Naheem Hines? I think that was a good move. I forgot about Rice. I completely forgot about Rice. Rice and Johnny Wilson be good. Sweat's a guy. I'd be shy. He doesn't fit that defense, but if you draft a guy like Sweat, are you gonna throw in some 3-4 looks? Because if you do, then I would be scared. But if you plan on just using him as a standard 3 tech, then it doesn't fit. But Rice is a guy that would fit. I forgot Gabe Davis signed with Jacksonville, and I don't think that's really that good of a move for Jacksonville. But I thought they overpaid for Christian Kirk, so maybe they're giving. Now, keep in mind, I think that they're going to work out a deal with Ridley too. So adding him, but do the Bills go receiver? I think they could. Fixing Dolores. Fisk is a guy that I don't know why. I feel like such a dick not having him in my first round mock. I feel like such a dick for not having him in my first round of my mock. Even though, by the way, check out my mock draft video. It is beyond fantastic, but I should have had Fisk in the first round. Those are great picks for the Bills. Oh, the West Virginia guard. Yes. That's a guy I could see the Lions getting in the first round as well. And I wanted to put Graham Bartram, the left tackle out of Duke, who's going to play guard or center in the pros. I also put him in there. But both those guys would be good fits for the Lions. Yeah. I thought he signed with Buffalo. I guess I'm getting it wrong. I think Johnny Wilson could turn into a receiving fullback. I'm really curious. Whoever drafts him, I'm really curious how they plan on using him. But it could be a lot of fun. And by the way, I mocked I was just saying his name a few minutes ago. The Texas wide receiver, not the one who runs the 4-2-1, but the guy who ran 4-3-3, the big dude. No, actually, hold on here. Didn't I draft? I'm drawing a blank on my own mock draft here. I think I had I'm drawing a complete blank on my own mock draft. But the answer to your question, could the Bills go receiver? Yeah, absolutely. I think Swat would fit next to Oliver. Well, on obvious running situations, you'd have Bowers and in Sweat, and then to be honest, you're giving so much money to Oliver. I hate to take him off the field, but you could give him a break. The thing is, if you're thinking Sweat in round 2, right? That would make a lot of sense. Have him be a rotational dude. I just think that if you're running even fronts, he just doesn't fit that defense. But if you're Buffalo and you want to start getting a little creative on your defense and kind of go with the times where teams are running hybrid defensive schemes and bring them in, but it would be fun. Brock Bowers, the tight end for Georgia, because well, yeah. You did sign Daquan Jones to a 2-year deal, so I like that. What about Javon Baker? I could have sworn Are you talking about Jerome Baker, the Miami linebacker? Javon Baker. I'm drawing a blank, Big Chief Sean. Wilson reminded me of Kenny G, former Lions. Kenny G. I'm drawing a blank here, man. Kenny G. Oh, you're talking about the hair. Are you talking Jerome Baker? Big Chief Sean? Because Javon Baker, I'm just drawing a blank on. I'm just drawing a complete blank on Javon Baker as far as draft prospects are concerned. Drawing a complete blank. Oh, Kenny Galladay. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Giants gave him, I think it was like a 4-year, $80 million deal, and he didn't do anything. And that's why I think the Giants have to go receiver at 6. So yeah, I remember now. Yeah, Wilson is kind of like that. Yeah, he could. I think Wilson's got more size. Wilson's got a lot more size than that. I know you're talking Kenny Galladay. Yeah, no, he's got a lot more size. A lot more. I think Wilson's a guy that's going to play tight end. I really do. I think the team's going to draft him. I don't know where he's going to go. I could see him in the 2nd round. I would love for Kansas City to get him late, and maybe at the bottom of the 2nd, and say, listen, you're going to play tight end. But Chiefs tight ends are basically just tight end in name only. So yeah, I remember that now. Yeah. Guys, please do me a favor. Check out my mock draft video if you haven't already. I'm losing my voice, so I'm going to wrap things up. Guys, thank you so much for joining me talking free agency. We started talking draft, and I kind of got off track. Well, here's the deal, Perry. They already got a guy like that they turned into a tight end. The guy from Coastal Carolina, Isaiah Likely. They already got a guy like that, so I don't see him doing it again. But Alex, man, I'm so glad to see you. I got Big Chief Sean, who I haven't seen in forever. By the way, Big Chief Sean, give me a shout. Alex, I'm so glad to hear from you, man. It's been. By the way, what a great time. What a great time to be a Texans fan. And my next mock draft will be coming out probably Monday, but this one will have trades on it. So, guys, my social media links are listed below. I'm still kicked off of Facebook. Check out my mock draft video. It is fantastic. The next one, I'm going to have some trades on there. Friday, I'm hopeful to have Keys, and maybe I can get Keaton Talk Sports. But Keaton said that my mock drafts are so much better than his, so we'll find out. But anyway, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back Friday. I hope to see everybody back on Friday. Don't forget to watch my mock draft video. It's actually really good. So have a great week. See y'all back on Friday.